Okay, so let's get started. So a little bit about myself. My name is Glynis, and I'm a clothing brand owner turned business consultant, SEO specialist. I have 20 years apparel industry experience. I worked a decade in the apparel industry for many large brands, and also had my own clothing design company called Punch Brand for 10 years. I help designers build a purposeful and profitable clothing business so they can make a living doing what they love. I'm the founder of Chase Your Dreams, which offers SEO and business consulting for apparel companies. I'm also a host of Apparel Business Summit, which is an online conference for designers and entrepreneurs in the apparel and textile industry. And I'm actually in the process of relaunching that this June, June 30th. So watch out for that. The sales page should be up probably within the next week or so that you can sign up for my newsletter and get updates when the registration opens. So it's going to be really cool because I have some extra new speakers that are added to the roster this year. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of really good information if you have an apparel or textile clothing business. So here's some of the companies that I've worked for in the past. Monaco, I've worked for Bay, Reebok, I had my own clothing design company, Punch Brand. So why is SEO important for your website? SEO stands for search engine optimization, which is the practice of increasing the quantity and quality of traffic to your website through organic search engine results. Did you know that 93% of online experiences start with search engine? Each year, more than 2.8 trillion search queries are made on Google alone. This means that Google answers more than 88,000 searches worldwide per second. In other words, every second that your website is not indexed on Google, you miss out on hundreds, if not thousands, of opportunities in which someone might have accessed your website, viewed your content, and bought your product or services. By optimizing your website for search engines, not only can you improve its ranking and thus be found by potential customers, but you can also create a better user experience. That is the key to SEO. You're optimizing for your visitors, not just for search engines. So keep that in mind. User intent is very important when it comes to SEO, because you want the people who land on your web page to be engaged and find the content that on your web page to be relevant to what they're searching for. Otherwise, they'll leave your site and they'll cause a higher bounce rate, which it's one of the SEO factors. Okay, so what is SEO? An SEO ranking refers to your content's position on the search engine results page. A number one ranking means that when people search for a particular term, your web page is the first results, apart from the promoted results or ads. Appearing on the top 3 results is excellent because almost half of the clicks on any search results page go to those positions. Appearing on the first page at all within the top 10 results is also useful. That's because 95% of people never make it past the first page. So you want to work on your SEO in terms of ranking on the first page in the top 10 results, if not trying to be first top 3 results on the search engine results page. That's where your SEO efforts should be focused on. Okay. So I talked about this in my presentation on how to use SEO, but just as a refresher and just so everybody understand, how does Google actually work? Google aims to deliver relevant search results as part of its bid to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Google has automated software called search engines or bots. Search bots or spiders. These bots visit web pages in a process called crawling the web. Then they add the pages they crawl to Google's index, which is a huge catalog of trillions of web pages. When people search Google, it shows the most relevant results from that catalog. When you do SEO, you're helping Google's spiders to crawl and understand your content. You're also telling Google your content is relevant to search queries, so your web pages show up in the right search results. So that's how Google works in a nutshell. So I want to touch briefly on what is SEO. I put it in a visual format using these 3 circles to illustrate what SEO is, because as a creative, like me especially, I'm more of a visual person, and it just helps to see it this way, and it just helps me to understand it. If you're like me, or a creative person, this chart, this diagram will hopefully help you illustrate what SEO is. So SEO is made up of 3 parts, right? So there's technical SEO, on-page SEO, and off-page SEO. Technical SEO refers to the process of optimizing your website for the crawling and indexing phase. With technical SEO, you can help search engines access, crawl, interpret, and index your website without any problems. On-page SEO is the practice of optimizing individual web pages in order to rank higher and earn more relevant traffic in search engines. On-page refers to both the content and the HTML code, source code of a page that can be optimized, as opposed to off-page SEO, which refers to links and external signals. So on-page SEO is things that take place that are directly related to your website. For example, title tags, meta descriptions, image alt tags, H1 headers. Those things are all part of on-page SEO. And of course, content as well. And then off-page SEO refers to the actions that are taken outside of your own website to impact your rankings within search engine results. So optimizing for off-page ranking factors involves improving search engine user perception of a site's popularity, relevance, and trustworthiness. So one of the activities that revolves around off-page SEO is something that's called link building, and that's creating links called inbound links, outbound links, and internal links. Inbound links are links coming from other sites, with perhaps higher authority sites linking to your back to your site. And outbound link would be a link that you link to another site for referencing. And then an internal link would be a link that's within your own site. So say if you had a blog post that you had written on a certain topic, and then you're writing another post, you may want to refer back to a previous post and link to that. So these are important ranking factors that help with SEO. Okay. So everyone's probably familiar with a search engine result page. Looks like on Google. When a search query is being typed, the search engine looks in its index, even while it's being entered, for the most relevant information and displays the results in the search engine results page. Then the results are sorted by relevance. So search engines have one goal: to give the searcher the exact information they are searching for. So that's why it's really important that, the page, what they the results that matches their search has to make sure that it's relevant to what they are searching for. So if you look at, okay, if you look at this here is example, say if you type in the search bar organic cotton t-shirt. So these are some of the results that come up. And so you'll see here, these the two here are actually paid advertisements. So it says ad next to it. These are ads, they're paid. But then the three results right beneath those, 1, 2, and 3 here are organic, okay? So these are organic results that come up. Okay, so just want to talk about Google's ranking factors. There's 200 ranking factors when it comes to Google ranking a website. And that's a lot of factors. But I created a checklist of the most important SEO ranking factors, which I will provide a download to after this presentation. I create this checklist that it's like the most important SEO ranking factors, because it's kind of impossible to be able to do all these 200 ranking factors, but it's just interesting to look at and know what they are. Okay. So let's get into keyword research. What is keyword research? Keyword research is the process of discovering words and phrases that people use in search engines with the ultimate goal of optimizing content around those terms and ranking for those terms in search engines. Why is keyword research important for SEO? Well, keyword research impacts every SEO task that you perform, including finding content topics, on-page SEO, and outreach and promotion. So that's why keyword research is usually the first step of any SEO campaign. So if you put it this way, keywords are like a compass for your SEO campaigns. They tell you where to go and whether or not you're making progress. So how can you find keyword ideas? I'm going to go over how to find keyword ideas now. Okay, so you want to start with brainstorming a list of topics that, you know, that are related to what your customers are interested in. You want to come up with topics that your target customer is interested in. For example, let's say that you run a fashion e-commerce website. Well, you want to ask yourself, well, what topics do people search for that are related to my business? Some topics that come to mind would be things like fashion, trends, shop, community, lookbook, bestsellers, media. So start by just brainstorming topics that are related to your business. And one place that you can go to help you come up with some good ideas for topics is Wikipedia. If you go into this the contents area, this can give you some good ideas for topics to talk about, because you know what's on here would be pretty popular of things that people are looking for. So for that things that are related to fashion, there could be, you know, here, fashion trends, right? Technology influences, social influences, circular economy could be a topic, marketing, media, public relations. these can all be topics that you can pull from for ideas when you're starting your keyword research. So another thing you can do is directly in Google, when you start typing into that field, the search field, you start typing in like, words like fashion, you'll see a related searches related to section that will come up at the bottom of Google's search results. So that could be a good place because you'll see that it gives you some extra keywords that are closely related to your search term. So another place you can go is on like different forums like Reddit and Quora. If you head over to Reddit and search for a broad topic that your target audience is interested in, something that's related to what you sell, then you choose a subreddit where your audience probably hangs out, and then look for threads with a lot of comments. Then there's also Google Suggest. You type in your topic into Google and you see what types of terms that Google suggests to you. And these are great keywords to add to your list. Why? Because if Google suggests a keyword, you know that lots of people are searching for it. There's also Google Trends, and that's really cool because it'll show you a lot of like the top, words and searches that people are looking for at that particular time. Also Amazon reviews, you can go in and look for ideas in there as well, because it's what people are talking about. So these are all different ideas where you can start finding your keywords. So let's talk about keyword research tools. So Google's Keyword Planner is probably the most reliable source of keyword information online. It's because unlike most other tools, the data you get from the Keyword Planner comes straight from Google. However, the big downside of the Google Keyword Planner is that it's designed to help people with their Google ad campaigns and not with SEO. But with that said, you can still use the Google Keyword Planner to get lots of keyword ideas and find search queries that get lots of searches. There's a website called explodingtopics.com. It scrapes the web for terms that are surging in popularity and bubbles those terms up for you. Keywords Everywhere is a Chrome extension you can install right on your browser. It will show you monthly search volume, cost per click, and competition data of keywords on multiple websites. However, Keyword Everywhere just turned into a paid app. I just found that recently that you have to buy credits to be able to use it, but it's very useful because it's installed right into Chrome there. So when you're searching, it shows you the results like right there, like on the page. And okay, so Uber Suggest is a free tool that you can use for keyword research, and it generates keyword ideas from Google search suggestions. And it also gives you data on each keyword like search volume, cost per click, keyword difficulty, and more. And it's actually a really, really good tool to use. Being a free tool, it's pretty good to use. It's quite user-friendly. And there's also paid tools like SEMrush. It's a paid subscription. It gives you a lot of reporting features. And you can also look up keywords that your competitors are ranking for. I use SEMrush, but that's because I do SEO for my work. But it lets me generate a lot of reports and see how my keywords are performing, and gives me an overview of my website, and gives position tracking, and also It helps with competitive analysis. So yeah, so here, those are some good keyword research tools to check out. So let's talk about long tail keywords. So what's a long tail keyword? Long tail keywords are search terms with relatively low search volume and low competition levels. Long tail keywords are long. They contain, 4 or more word phrases that are usually very specific. So for example, red tennis shoes with zippers. Why are long tail keywords important for SEO? Well, there are 2 main reasons that you might want to focus on long tail keywords. So first reason is that long tail keywords aren't that competitive. When it comes to SEO, long tails are much less competitive than shorter head terms, which makes them easier to rank for. So for example, a short tail keyword like link building has over 6 billion results in Google. So if you want to rank #1 in Google for that query, you need to outrank 6 billion other sites. So yikes, that's crazy, right? So on the other hand, if you use a long tail version of that keyword like best SEO link building software, that long tail keyword has a lot less competition than the head term like link building, which, so the same idea applies to Google AdWords pay-per-click campaigns. Long tail can be cheaper to bid on than super popular head terms. Okay, so that's #1 reason. #2 is that long tail keywords have high conversion rates. Long tail searches aren't just longer, they're also more specific. So in other words, the people who search for long tail terms tend to be much further along in the buying cycle compared to folks who are searching for head terms. So for example, like go back to the example I have with the red tennis shoes with zippers. Of course, the number of people searching for long tail keywords will be fewer than those who search for the shoe store, but you can be pretty sure that those few people who get to far later stage in the sales funnel are more willing to buy your product than a person that searches for the term shoe store. So the bottom line, traffic that you get from long tail terms tend to convert really well. Okay. So now that you have a list of keywords, and how do you know which one to pick? Well, unfortunately, there's no tool out there that will tell you this is the best keyword on your list. Instead, you need to size up each keyword based on a handful of different factors. Then pick the keyword that's the best fit for your business. So what do you need to look for? Firstly, search volume. The more people who search for a keyword, the more traffic you can get from it. However, search volumes vary a lot between different industries. And that's why you need to figure out what a high and low search volume number is in your niche. Then you choose keywords based on what's normal for your industry. So search volumes is the number of times that keyword is searched in a month. So that's one thing you want to look at. And like what you want to do is create some kind of spreadsheet to keep track of all this. So you want to have a spreadsheet and put the keyword in the column, and then you want to have a column that says, search volume, click-through rate, difficulty, cost per click, that sort of thing, and plug all that in while you're doing this research. So organic click-through rate is the number of Google searchers that click on an organic result that is, what do I want to say? Yeah, the organic click-through rate's actually gone down because there's something called featured snippets that you may notice nowadays when you go into Google and you type in something. You may notice like the answer may already show up, like especially if you're asking a question. They may give you an answer right away, right? And then they may give you like something like a carousel thing. So now with these things that Google's doing with these featured snippets, on top of like ads and all this stuff, it's makes it a little bit more competitive, like harder to do organic SEO on something. So you just have to keep in mind with that, like why sometimes this could affect your click-through rate. Because like if the answer is already showing up on the Google results, they're not gonna be clicking on the website. So, and also there's a thing to look at is called difficulty. Difficulty here is okay, so if your site is new, it's best to target low competition terms at first, like long tail keywords. Then as your site grows in authority, you can start to target more competitive stuff. Cost per click is it's a metric that answers important questions. So people who are searching for this keyword, are they actually spending money on it? So search volume is nice, but with the cost per click, you can tell that there's more commercial intent around it. So that's something you can use to measure and to gauge, you know, the value of a keyword. And then there's keyword trends. You want to see if your keyword is going fast or dying slow, and the best way to do that, you go to Google Trends, actually, and it'll tell you, yeah, the trending keywords. So, oops. So that pretty much also wraps up this presentation here on keyword research. A question that you may be asking is how long does it take to rank? And so this chart here shows you that something with low volume can be within like 120 days. So that's like what, 4 months? So yeah, that shows you here within the low volume keywords here in this light pink bar, within 121 days, you can see how it starts to rank within this time frame. So low volume, like I said, right? Like using long tail keywords. It's something that low volume, low competition is something that will help your website to rank higher, faster. Words that have a medium volume could take within 304 days, and high volume could take within 365 days. So that's, SEO is pretty much a long game, right? Like you gotta do it consistently, like at least for 3 months to see any results, and just let it go organically. But the good thing with SEO is that, you know, you do it right, your SEO will keep working for you, you know. Whereas if you're doing like pay-per-click ads and stuff, the traffic will stop as soon as your ads stop running. So SEO will keep going. So as long as you make sure you maintain it, you update it, make sure you keep track of how your site's performing, how your keywords are ranking, in terms of the competitors too, how your keywords are ranking. But yeah, I think, you know, SEO is really good in terms of like keeping your sites performing and healthy. So that pretty much wraps up my presentation. Now, does anyone have any questions they want to ask me? Either you want to unmute your mic, or you can type it in chat box. Oh, here, if you guys want to get a hold of me, here's how you can reach me. My website, glennistao.com, and follow me on Instagram at glennistao, or you can also email me at hello@glennistao.com if you think of anything after this presentation. So I'm going to stop screen share now and take any questions that people have. If you want to type in the chat box, you can go ahead. How do you want to rank high on competitive words like leggings or face masks? So Lexi is asking, how do we begin to rank high on competitive words like leggings or face masks? Yeah, so it takes time for like brands that probably have been around longer are ranking for these terms organically. You know, there's certain factors that come into play. For example, a site's age is a factor. So a website who's been around longer versus a site that's been around, you know, maybe a few months. The one that's been around longer has a factor, could rank higher. Again, you know, you got to make sure that your keywords are used in the proper places, making sure that you have, this kind of goes back to some of the basics that I touched on in the first lesson, in terms of making sure your keywords are placed correctly on the page, and making sure that, you know, you have your title tags are properly done, your meta descriptions, having keywords in the meta descriptions, having your, you know, the words in the header, having the words in your images, making sure that the keywords are on the page enough times, right? In those pages, in those areas, which is the on page. That's the on-page SEO part, right? So where you would optimize your keywords, right, here. And yeah, then, you know, consistently making sure that your content is relevant with the keywords, and also having, like, in terms of product pages, right? Having those words in your product pages as well. It's exactly the same thing, right? Right in, if you're using Shopify, making sure that your title has the keyword in it, making sure the description has it, making sure your images, the alt tag, and even the file name has that saved in it. These are all things that trigger that part of Google that will all help with SEO. Hopefully that helps. What do you mean by the right places? Or what do I mean by the right places? Making sure having your keywords put into the right places. Like, for example, it's like exactly what I was talking about here, right? With your keyword optimization. You want to make sure, like, your title have your keyword in it. Okay. And so you're researching you do your keyword research, and then you look up, like, search, for example, Bayush, I know you asked me this question for your jewelry about earrings, and I was looking up the words like I think it was sterling silver stud earring set, because I think sterling silver earrings is very competitive, and went with more of like a long tail keyword that still had a high search volume, but was less competitive. So using that in the title of your product on the product page itself. You would put that in the description, right? Then you would put it, yeah, and in the description, try to be as descriptive as possible. And because I see some product pages that are very sparse and are not very descriptive, like it just kind of talk about just the features of the product, right? Like say this iPhone, right? It has a screen, large screen, and it's white and touch screen, and like you talk about the features, and it has a camera, but really like talk about the product. If you can kind of convey more of a feeling of what the product is and how kind of the story behind it and why the product was created, that would really help, instead of just, you know, saying, oh, you know, silver stud earrings, and then just say, you know, made of 100 silver, and then like it's you gotta like beef up the description more. Does that help? Does anyone else have any other questions in terms of keyword research and using keyword? Did that help, Beige? Yes, thank you. Thanks.
Can you guys hear me? Actually.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I have to do something else, so I miss the majority of the presentation. But just have some kind of a personal experience that I like to share. I guess when you guys talking about that how to rank high on competitive words, you're not talking about like put on any money onto those things. So there might be two things from our experience we would definitely like to recommend. The first one is a lot of you guys probably already find your special niche. Like Lexi, I remember last time you mentioned about doing active where targeting slightly different user group. So when you build your content, you have product informations, you have a bunch of other things. But the most interesting thing from our side is the blog. We actually have a writer working for us, talking about things that from our side. And the most effective blogs actually are the ones from our side. Because we do those kind of help people steal the look. So it turns out our blogs, the most effective one is ones talking about still looks from the celebrities. And you have to be up to date, which means not about the celebrities that I wouldn't call super old, but has to be up to date, trending in the Google world. Like, to be honest, I don't know any of those ones, but there's one, Gigi Hadid, and there's the TikTok influencers. Those are the people get excited right away. So those kind of blogs probably will help. And another thing is that since we're talking about fashion, we're talking about clothing over here, really make really good use of the visual arts. I'm sorry, it's not really about SEO, keywords optimization, or any of those things, but visual arts actually helps. You probably will be surprised to know that Pinterest actually works better than Instagram, at least for us. It's almost zero effort for you to do on Pinterest. Just need to put your product onto the board, give it different sorts, give it different create different boards, and people will start to look into it right away. It's very interesting, and we can see almost half of the traffic actually comes from the Pinterest. Instagram, on the other hand, is very interesting. It's very helpful on building the brands, but when it comes to selling things, probably not the best tools, to be honest. Maybe we're doing it wrong, because for us, we can see that Instagram help us to get some kind of traffic, but a lot of people not really come to the site looking for products, just because they get to the site just because they see some kind of interesting artworks. So that's probably some kind of points you or something you guys want to try it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's thanks for sharing that, Chi. Sharing your experience and how different social platforms are helping drive traffic to your site. And social media is different. Like, its main purpose is really building awareness. If you think about it, and I mean, in terms of SEO, social signals is a factor that comes into play. Um, it, it is one of the ranking factors. So you want to make sure your content is fresh and updated, because Google does factor that in and make sure that, you know, stuff's happening with your business. But also a thing is that with Pinterest, actually, Pinterest is in a way, it's not really a social media, but more of a search engine. Is That's what people are going to Pinterest for, is they're looking for things and it's showing up results. So Pinterest you can look at it as more of a search engine type. Same with YouTube, right? That's more of like it's a type of search engine if you really think about it. And so, yeah, that's interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Does anyone else have any other questions? I think there's a question about in terms of updating the website and stuff. So yeah, like um, in terms of content, like I found that around, I think it was 1,800 words is most optimal in terms of articles and blogs for word count for SEO. And it's not so much important quantity over quality over quantity, because the number of blogs, like, you don't need to constantly be pumping out content, right, and writing new articles. Like, you could probably have like 4 articles a month, but updating would probably help with your SEO. So make sure, like, maybe every 3 months or so, go in and refresh your content with some updates, not just, you know, taking out some words here and there, but maybe, like, you know, deleting old information that's no longer relevant and adding more information to your blogs and articles, and just freshening up the content would help with SEO for sure. So it's not the quantity, right? Having to do like all these blogs like constantly, like, you know, it's really the quality that you want to focus on, and the relevancy, and making sure, like I said in the beginning, in terms of user intent, right? You want to write things that matches what the users or the person is searching for, making sure that the topic is relevant to them and that is providing a solution to their problem. The better you're able to do that, better you're able to keep the traffic on your site, and people are not leaving you, right? Leaving the website, because you go onto a page and it's like, well, if that's not what they're looking for, they're going to leave your site, and that's going to cause a high bounce rate, which is going to affect your SEO. So Miranda's asking, how do you know if your SEO is working? For example, how can you attribute success to SEO? So 6 months is too long for SEO to get results, because that's what a previous agency I worked with said is minimum amount of time it takes for results. So they're saying a minimum is 6 months. Yeah, like with the chart I showed earlier, right? Depends on the types of terms, the keywords that you're ranking for. Ones that have lower volume, low competition, you can rank for faster, maybe even shorter times 3 to 4 months, right? And you got to make sure your SEO is done correctly. I worked on a site for a client who just launched in October. She launched a line of organics, like fair trade certified organic cotton t-shirts. And I went and worked on her site. She wanted to rank for, the keyword was, I can't remember exactly, but it was like organic fair trade t-shirts wholesale or something, because she's catering mainly to B2B, doing wholesale. I used that word. We made sure we put it all on the homepage. It was on the header. It was in the title tag. It was in the meta description. It was everything. Like, it was probably throughout the whole homepage. And like what we were seeing, like she started from 0, and we were seeing she was ranking for that keyword. Like she was number 3 result for that keyword in like around 3 months time. So yeah, it really depends, I think, on the keyword and if it's done properly, and also making sure that the site is also optimized like technically as well. So not just keywords, but making sure you do the technical SEO part as well. Making sure that the website is crawlable to Google, making sure that you have an SSL certificate, and making sure, oh yeah, website load time is important. So your site needs to load quicker, like probably at less than 3 seconds is ideal. So yeah, I mean, there's so many different factors, right? And the thing, you know, it's hard to say that, okay, well, it's going to take you 3 months or 6 months to rank. I have tools that I use for my business that is like, I put in all the keywords, the list of keywords, I input it all in that we want to rank for, and I have a tool that will actually tell me the position, what the keyword is, like, and how it's ranking. And it'll tell me like if the keyword is ranking in the top 100 or top like 20 or top 10, and I can see that. And so there's ways of tracking it. So any SEO person that you work with, first of all, should be able to give you reports and tell you like how your website is performing. You shouldn't have to be guessing and wondering like, is my SEO working? Like, I'm paying all this money and I'm not seeing results. Well, no, they have to be able to show you this, like through reports is one thing. And when we're starting, like I always give my clients a baseline report. I run a site audit that tells them the health of the website, where they stand right now. It'll tell you exactly the number of errors. We'll go in and fix all the technical stuff first, clean it all up, get rid of any like major errors, improve the site speed and stuff. And I also will create a report for like all the keywords that you want to rank for. I'd create it, and then every month send the report to show you, okay, what position the keyword is ranking for. It'll tell you last month versus this month, the position. If it's, you started maybe like it was ranking as 100, then a month later it could be gone up to like 20, and then a month after that it could go up to top 10. You should be able to see that, right? And agencies should be able to provide you that. Like if they say they can't, like that's just BS. It wouldn't work with them. So hopefully that answers your question. How do you know if an agency is doing a good job? 6 months at $1,200 a month is a lot to find out later if it's not working. Yeah, that's why I'm saying, they have to give you reports to see how things are going. And they have to be constantly monitoring it, right? It's not just set it and forget it, that kind of thing. It's like you got to be tweaking it all the time and monitoring, tracking. It's progress. So I'm just reading your question, Chi. I understand you need to hire an agency to help you do all the heavy lifting, but that doesn't mean you will just let them deal with everything. It's your business after all. Set up several metrics. Use Google Search Console, Google Analytics. Choose several critical event numbers.
Yeah, I just realized I basically repeat whatever you just said over there.
Oh, yeah. So Google Search Console, for sure. You can go in there right away and you can see what keywords you're ranking for, your site's ranking for in there. So everybody, you know, who has a website should have Google Analytics, Google Search Console set up. Okay. See how. Yeah. Yeah. So like, you know, my job as an SEO, I go in and do the research, right? I do the keyword research, put them all into the grid, and then I enter it all into the spreadsheet, and then start making suggestions, fixing everything, putting all the keywords in onto the right areas, like what I talked about. I go through this checklist first. I have like a process that I do, you know, weekly steps that I need to do in order for the SEO to be successful. But you know, you can start by doing it yourself, right? And just doing a lot of this stuff yourself. And if you need help, then I mean, I'm here for you, right? And always feel free to reach out. And if you have any other questions, yes, thanks. Fifi?
Linus, it's Miranda speaking. I just had one question. You might have just answered it, but I want to ask, so there's a lot of free tools out there, but then you're using paid because obviously this is your line of work now. But do you think there's a lot that, like, as a single person business you can do by yourself without hiring an agency, that you can kind of get the ball rolling before you hire an agency or work with someone like yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Uber Suggest is a good tool, as I'm finding it is comparable to almost like the tool that I've been using, SEMrush. Because I have the paid tool, I'm more familiar with SEMrush. I use that, and I have like all my projects set up in there for all my clients, and I have all my reports set up in there. But I think with Uber Suggest, they're getting a lot better that way. I'm following this guy, Neil Patel. He's really beefing out. I fully expect this to be paid. That's probably Uber Success. It's going to be paid eventually, like, you know, once it gets popular enough. But until then, you know, it's free tools. So totally go and use it. Like, go in and play around with it, because it also gives you keyword suggestions as well. You type in a keyword in there, it'll tell you like the search volume, it'll tell you the cost per click, it'll tell you competition of the keyword. So, and then it'll give you some suggestions as well. So go in there by all means. Like, go in there and try that out and see how it goes. Like, use the training that I gave you today, and I will also give you. Oh, actually, I'll put this checklist in the email, the recap email I'm sending you. I'll send this email to you guys maybe in a day or two. I'll put a link to this checklist. So yeah, you can definitely, you know, do a lot of this stuff yourself. Link building, you know, big SEO factor. You can reach out to blogs in your industry, ones with high domain authority, higher domain authorities. You can actually install something called a Moz bar, and it's a Chrome extension. You put in there, you type in any website, it'll tell you the domain authority. The higher it is, number it is, the higher the domain authority is. So 100, like for example, Google, Facebook, Amazon would be close to like in the high 90s domain authority. So you want to find sites that have the reputable, have high domain authority, where your target audience goes to, what types of blogs they go to, what kind of websites they go to, and you can reach out to them and ask to perhaps write an article, write a guest post for them, or ask to get some kind of link back. You can say, I think my brand would totally resonate with your readership, your audience, and you want to check it out. And, if you can give a link back to my site, that would be really awesome. So you can do stuff like that, right? So yeah, hopefully this webinar helped. Hopefully everybody found it helpful. And if you, you don't have more questions, I think that's pretty much a wrap. And so one other thing is that if you are in the fashion industry, if you're a fashion entrepreneur, check out my podcast for fashion entrepreneurs. It's called Chase Your Dreams. It's on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify. I'm just going to put a link to it here. Oops. Actually, this should be everyone. Yeah. Because I have some really good topics I talk about, and I'm doing some interviews there as well. Oops, that's not the link. Sorry. So, yeah. Yeah, if we don't have any more questions, then that's a wrap for today. And I'm hoping to continue doing these types of webinars every 2 weeks, so every other Tuesday. So probably the next one will be in 2 weeks, which will be May 26th. And I'm always taking recommendations and suggestions from people, topics, what you want me to do. If it's more SEO training, I could probably do one on on-page SEO next time, if people are interested in that. Feel free, you can always just email me. I'll put my email address in here as well. Yeah, email me your questions and your suggestions. Other than that, it was really good to see everyone here, and I'm really thank you for joining me today. And hopefully everybody is staying safe and healthy wherever they are through this situation right now. And so, yeah, take care, okay? Take care.